Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about people who have went missing while on vacation. And the first one is John Halford, and he is from Buckinghamshire. So I think that's England. But in 2011, he was having marriage difficulties and decided to go on a $6,000 or £6,000 trip, and he wanted to go on a cruise, and his whole family was like surprised because it cost so much money. But he went by himself. It was a week-long cruise, and he kept to himself most of the time. The name of the ship was called the Spirit of Egypt, and there's no evidence that he socialized with anyone. He kind of kept to himself, but his family says that's normal. On the last day of the cruise, he texted his wife, and he said that, he was going to be at the airport at a certain time for her to pick him up. So he was never there when she went to pick him up from the airport. And to come find out, she got a call that her husband had vanished from the cruise ship. So I thought it was kind of odd that right away she's like, oh, he probably drank too much and fell overboard. And he just encountered some bad luck. So I guess since they were going through a divorce, she didn't really care much that he had fallen overboard. But the only evidence they have is that he had had some drinks at the casino bar on the ship in the hours leading up to midnight. And then the next day is when he's supposed to be exiting the ship, and he never did. But everyone said he was a beer drinker, so him having 2 cocktails might have caused him to fall over. Now, I don't think it's very easy to fall overboard in these ships. And it seems like whenever someone goes missing from a ship, somebody always wants to say they fell overboard because they were drunk. And I just don't see that happening unless you're like crazy drunk, where you're like balancing on the railing or something and you fall overboard. But it seems to be what they always come up with when people go missing on these cruise ships. Now, I find it odd there's no camera footage of him like jumping. Like, when are these cruise ships going to get better cameras? Because this happens more often than it should, where people just go missing and then they just assume they fell overboard all the time. Now, it could be he was distraught because he was getting divorced and that he jumped overboard, but of course we'll never know. And what's sad is that it could be somebody pushed him overboard, but we'll never know because there's no camera footage, and somebody might have gotten away with murder. And just because he had these things going on in his life, everyone just assumes a lot. And that's what's scary about if someone disappeared, is how many of us have like weird things going on in our life that someone could just point at and say, oh, she failed that test, so she probably jumped overboard. Oh, she lost that job, so she probably jumped overboard. I wouldn't want everyone just assuming stuff like that about me, and I'm sure that he doesn't either. Next, I want to talk about 28-year-old Amanda Waller, who went missing while on vacation in Curacao. I'll put it on the screen because I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it's off the coast of Venezuela. So she was from Texas. She went with a group of friends and she disappeared on June 25th, 2015. She was enjoying her vacation with her friends when she disappeared without a trace. So they had decided to go snorkeling and around 3 p.m. So another person that was on the trip said that a pregnant friend of Amanda's had gotten tired and decided to go back to shore. So Amanda swam away from the group a few minutes later to join her. When Amanda's husband went to the beach around 20 minutes later, they said Amanda was nowhere to be found. So at first they thought maybe she was in the water because she had a cramp, but she's a strong swimmer. So when Matt, her friend, got back from snorkeling, he said, "Where's Amanda?" And no one could find her. And no one ever saw her come back ashore. So her friend was the last one to see her. He said she had signaled that she was coming back to shore, but then never made it. So everyone was like looking for her, and they had 50 volunteer divers. Everyone searched until July 29th, but she was never found. So her husband went back to Texas, and he just said that she was snorkeling with a group of friends, and at some point he became separated from her. And when he surfaced from a dive he was doing, they had already started searching for her. He said that his wife and him talked about what if something ever happened to her. And she said, if anything ever happened, I want you to live on. I want you to be happy. And I want you to love again. So that was kind of an odd thing to throw in there. But they're just assuming she passed away in the water, and they don't know why she didn't make it to shore. So this could be a cut and dry case, but I think they also need to look into whether her husband purposely drowned her in that water, whether they had a life insurance policy, because we all remember that one case of the guy going snorkeling with his new wife, and he held her underwater so she couldn't get back up. So I kind of think of that because of how he said they had that conversation where Amanda said, "I'd want you to move on. I'd want you to find love." And it's almost like, did he find love like real quick after this happened? And he has to say that to like it be an excuse? Or was he just grieving and that just came to his mind because he's been thinking of all the things they've said? I don't know. I mean, it just seems odd she would just disappear. It just seems like something more to the story happened. You just don't hear of too many people just like snorkeling and then just like disappearing. And nobody even sees anything, especially if she's with a bunch of people. You would think somebody would have saw something. But I just wanted to bring awareness to these two cases, and I have more cases I want to share with you in the future.
You told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.